What's up, everyone? Welcome to 45 Minutes of Noise, a fortnightly show including average music discussion taking place within the average amount of time it takes to listen to an album. This is episode 2, and I'm your host slash your boy, Chris Pugh, and I'm joined by a very good friend and Mr. Nickel himself, Samuel Lewis. Sam, on a incredibly wet Friday evening, how are we?
Well, decidedly less cynical. Friday,
Oh,
not a download, so therefore apparently
mm,
not swimming between bands,
yeah.
and just figuring that whole mess out. Chilling, all good.
Mate, how could we not be chilling and all good when tomorrow we are going to see Foo Fighters for the first time and we're going to see them together? It's the first time you've seen them as well, isn't it?
Yes, it's the first time I've seen any Foo Fighters related thing ever, like including Dave Grohl on his own and stuff. There are rumors, by the way,
Oh,
because Dave Grohl likes a guest,
oh,
and his daughters were spotted at the Liam Gallagher gig in the same city.
oh.
The social media is alive with the whisperings because he loves a come on and let's do a random cover, doesn't he, our Dave?
Yeah, yeah, he does. Yeah. Quick thank you to supporters of Noise, Liquid Death, who continue to murder our thirst on a daily basis. Go and check them out. But I'll be honest, seriously, I don't think I've ever tasted water as good as this. Like, it is. Is it
No,
not
it's
absurd, Sam?
sensational.
Is it not
It's
absurd?
sensational. It's so good. I take them to work now, and I actually get is that a beer questions
Yeah.
14 times a day, and I'm prepared to deal with that because Alps water with a skull on the front is exactly the kind of liquid that I need.
Yeah, and it
So
is genuinely
much,
like the best type. I don't know how they've done this, or whether it's because it's in a can, keeps it fresh or something. It is legitimately the best tasting water I've ever had in my life. So big
yeah,
shout
class.
out to Liquid Death. Please check them out. The best way to support is by subscribing on YouTube or following slash liking on whichever podcast service you use. And please leave a 5-star rating. Really helps to get the word around. About 45 minutes of noise again, only in episode 2. You can follow us on Twitter at Noise Podcast. We are going to start. I mean, two bands we're reviewing this week, and I'd never heard of either of them I before we got the albums this week. So really cool for me. Actually, I love it when this happens and we review albums who I'm not familiar with previously. Um, so we're going to start with Earthtone 9. In Resonance Nexus is out on June 21st via Candlelight Records. It's the British metal band's return after an 11-year absence, and you may already know of Earthtone 9 as the band that inspired the naming of Arctangent Festival after their album of the same name was released in 2000. Sam, I mentioned at the start of the show that one of the records that we're talking about was geared more towards yourself than myself. And I was thinking specifically of this album when I made that comment. I'm
I
gonna
thought you might be.
Yeah, I'm going to pass over to you for this. I'm going to open up by saying I think this is a great album, and there's so much to squeeze into this album because the way it seamlessly blends its complexity with its mass appeal. And I feel like if someone told me they were looking for lighter, shorter periphery, I would point them in the way of Earthtone 9. But my immediate thought is that as I very much like this, but I have an inkling that you will like this even more than I do, and I really like it. Sam, in Resonance Nexus, Earthtone 9.
I really like this. I
Yeah,
did really like this.
yeah.
I actually did enjoy Foreign Hands a little more.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, great. I've got lots to say about them in a minute, so brilliant. But yeah,
Um,
Earthtone 9.
but this was really really good. You're right. This is a proper melting pot of a record. This is. You're right in that I like the assimilation of a sort of shorter periphery because it does appear to be sort of like squeezed into 5 or 6 minute slots rather than the 9 or 10 or 11 minute opuses that periphery have produced. But what I really like about this is it combines a collection of genres and collection of ideas, but it still maintains a short punch in the mouth, almost stoicism to the songwriting. The polyphony of animals, immediate, it's heavy, it's up tempo. The vocals are great. The riff in the central section where it rotates the pan in between the speakers is excellent. Love a thrash section as an interlude. Just big on that. There's a touch of Sleep Token on Division record in the chorus pronunciation, the cadence of his voice at the end of that, and there's just the riff work at the end of those records is just fantastic, and which follows on in Under the Snake, which
Yeah,
the opening
nice.
adds a bit of atmosphere and mystery. The riff in the middle section is fantastic, and it follows into another excellent breakdown with a great riff underneath and transition out. What this band do really, really well is they're able to seamlessly flip from genre to genre, from idea to idea, without it feeling like rushed, but also without it feeling stagnant or labored in any kind of way. Um, you tell me, Oceanic Drift, could that have been a Gajira song?
Yes,
Because
I thought it was excellent.
massive Gajira vibes on that. The riff and the vocal style. They even had a maritime title, so maybe that was influencing me my thought process with associating them with Gajira with a oceanic drift. But it was hard as nails, and the drums works was incredible.
Mate, can I just quickly ask you something?
Of
Sorry,
course you can. Of course you
mate.
can.
Black Swan Roulette, mate.
Terrific.
How good's that song?
Oh, it's
Oh,
terrific.
I think that
The
song's
opening with the
absurd.
offbeat, that syncopated drum start. Love me a syncopated drum over like a synthesizer kind of atmospheric thing. Big on that. The melodic section's fantastic. Touch of Silosis at the end with the descending harmonies and stuff like that, I thought. I thought Lash of the Tongs was like, do you want to just be Judas Priest for 2.5 seconds and then sort of kicks into this intricate riffing with a nice solo. It was just constantly there and it kept me on my toes as a listener. I was really impressed with it. And then we've got an NMA intro with Etiquette of Destruction, which is no messing about, and they just go straight into it. Mid-tempo down tune riffs with this beautiful that's the right adjective for that, but like triplet kicks underneath the riffing, just fantastic for me. Just really, really great drum work. I really liked the vocal mirroring on Observe Your Course featuring
Mm.
Mally Malpasser One Dice. It felt like Hatebreed at the start, and then the rotating vocals, really powerful chorus. The scream on Observe Your Course that went into that breakdown, that really deep guttural one, felt like a real moment on the album where they actually broke away from some progressive instincts to really sort of imitate hardcore albums and stuff. I thought Third Mutuality was a little bit of a filler, and I really enjoyed Strength Is My Weakness. So to summarize, because I just thought he gave me the floor kind of thing. So
Yeah.
just to summarize, I thought it was a very, very good album where I can completely understand their impact and their influence. And for a first time listener, it felt like a cocktail and a compilation of various genres. But what I was most impressed by was the things that have always made metal great, which is the riff work, the drumming, and the big choruses. So even while flitting between genre to genre, it still maintains a thread of just classic metal tropes, which will always be a win for me because I'm the guy that shouts like more guitar solos at the back of most albums. So I'm into it. I'm into it. Really good album.
Just to add on to your comments, for Observe Your Course, I put in my notes here that the opening to that song is the best Slipknot have sounded since 2015. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
bro, I spoke for 5 minutes and you just like out tweeted me in like 2 seconds. Fair play. But yeah, I completely agree.
What the thing is with this album, it does so many things. This album does. It's really interesting because it the kind of the metal snobs and the metal kind of aficionados that are like, oh, but it's not complex enough, and any decent guitarist could play that riff, or any decent vocalist could come up with those lyrics. Like this album
Okay.
is a complex album. Like there are real moments of real interesting instrumentation on this album, but it's also really accessible. We've spoken ad nauseum on the previous podcast that myself and yourself used to do that long songs are a risk for me sometimes. If it's over 7 minutes, you're rolling the dice on keeping me in. So it's a bit Marmite with me. Like I love it or I hate it. But with Earthtone 9, they hit that level of like kind of shock and awe. Be like, wow, that's an incredibly beautiful lead tempo riff, or wow, it's a really technical syncopated drum fill. But they also make it incredibly accessible. And I think the entire album is this kind of journey through what can be great, triumphant, beautifully balanced rock songs and technical metal. And that's an incredibly, incredibly difficult thing to do. Like, if I think about like Animals as Leaders, who are not who are an instrumental metal band, but I don't want Animals as Leaders to have a vocalist because I'm not sure they'd be able to write great songs with a vocalist. I just don't know. Whereas I feel like
You'd have to hire like four.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
They'd have to rotate.
Whereas with Earthtone 9, it's not as complex as Animals as Leaders, but it's complicated. There's beautiful musicianship, but there's also a real, real nice blend of melody, push through the center of it as well. I also specifically mentioned Etiquette of Distortion. It's got the most visceral and cutthroat moment of the album, and it's where the band kind of expand into kind of more post metal and at times death metal sound, and it's got this real kind of rustic punch to it. These jolting riff leads that work brilliantly well. I mentioned Black Swan Roulette to you. I think it's the best song on the album. It's a ridiculous song. That's so good. Have mentioned in my notes here, like there's just something to be said for a thumping great rock song. We were speaking about Foo Fighters earlier, and this doesn't sound like Foo Fighters, but like it's just so much fun, isn't it? Like a high octane, high energy, well balanced rock song. There's just not many things, not
Timeless.
things better than it. No,
Timeless.
it is timeless. And I also mentioned Polyphony of Animals because it opens the record with this blend between technicality and melody, and it beautifully sets up for what follows. So for me, mate, I've got immediate curiosity to jump in to the rest of their discography because I'm kind of curious of what they sounded like in 2000 with the explosion of a more classic metalcore, not metalcore the type that we're going to talk about for Foreign Hands, but like classic metalcore like Poison the Well. So I'm going to jump into that Arctangent album and I'm going to see what they sounded like in 2000. But for now, this is a this is a great capture point, and I would recommend this to most of the people I know that like complex technical metal. I thought this album was really good.
Can't argue with any of that, mate.
That's where we're going to leave off episode 2 of 45 Minutes of Noise. I do believe that we were actually within the 45-minute time frame this week, Sam, to my delight.
First time ever,
Yeah,
only
first
time
time.
ever.
Yeah, first time we achieved. I'm actually quite proud of us. Again, was to remind you, a big thank you to Liquid Death, who support Noise and are our thirst murderers. Definitely check out Liquid Death. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating. It would really help us out. In terms of upcoming episodes, I'm actually going to try and get an interview with Earthtone9. I'd really like to speak to them about the curation of the new record, first one in 11 years. So there's a decent chance that will be the next episode. If not, myself and Sam will be back in 2 weeks' time with another episode of 45 Minutes of Noise. Want to thank you for your time again, Sam. You have to watch the Euros?
Yeah, man. Germany, Scotland, let's go. Got two German players in my fantasy team, so
Oh, you set up a fantasy team.
I did.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
knew it.
I
We knew
did.
it. Why did I even ask? We
Yeah,
knew.
it's got Florian Wirtz in it, and Rudiger, and Rafael, and Kane, and Mbappe. Bro, I should get like 300 points a week.
Yeah, that's got to be the team, right? Do you have a
Yeah,
limited
yeah.
budget or something?
Nah, 100 million, bro. I'm just like,
100 million and then Mbappe won 93.
yeah, the budgets were pretty generous. Like Kane's like 11 million, and Mbappe's like 10 and a half. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, cool.
Yeah,
No,
cool
no,
indeed.
sound soon. Come on in, come on in.
Mr. Lewis, I shall see you tomorrow for Foo Fighters. Until the rest of you listening, we will see you in 2 weeks' time, or before that, if I do manage to get into the Earthtone 9. Thank you so much for listening. We're going to be back in 2 weeks' time. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.